Grown black folks talk. Gentlemen, you cannot lead where you are not going. You cannot lead where you are not going. This is not a reference to any particular race of men because it seems to be an American problem. However, one group of men in the United States of America is just out and proud and, well, not, well, correction. One subset, because 15 million black men are not doing anything at the same time. So let me be careful. Let me put down a general principle. This drag may not be as nasty as I intended, because I do want to be thoughtful. Out of respect for my own father and the wonderful men that I am meeting. Still, a gentleman had the temerity to flex his fingers to say the occasion was Eve, the rapper's 45th birthday. And she's such a strikingly, I'm like, she's 45. I'm like, whoa, did you even age? Strikingly beautiful woman with her husband, who just happens to be a white European man, Maximilian. I don't know anything about this couple. I don't know their backstory. I don't know how they met. I don't know any of that. It was just a very striking photo. And the thing that was so striking about it, you know how they say married couples look alike? I'm trying to figure out what is going on here. A lot of times, what you see is that people, they're about the same height, they have about the same facial shape. So even though they are a different color, they are matched together very, very well. Someone had a temerity. Some man had a temerity, and I know it was a black man because of what he said, but it also could have been a white man because Maximilian has some money somewhere there. Talking about how, well, but rich brothers can't get that kind of support and that kind of love and submission from the sisters. I'm like, okay, first of all, number one, you haven't done your research. Perhaps there's a gentleman by the name of Denzel Washington, black wife, Paulette. Ron James, black wife. There's plenty of there's plenty of black men out there who are doing very, very well, who do have good marriages. So number one, you haven't done your research. Number two, if you are the leader, you cannot have someone follow you where you are not leading them. And that's where the nasty drag part comes in. Here's what I'm not going to have around me in 2024. I don't care what color the man is. If you're not bringing me peace, don't expect it. If you want problems, you got them. There was a gentleman in a board meeting a long time ago, bunch of years, who found that out. Now, you have all these men on the board who I respect and have no problem with them. He decided he's gonna act a fool. Okay. All right. I took everything that man had said for the last 6 months, open up the flamethrower and let him have it. He was the second one within 2 years. That other one tried to get me beat up by my father and some old friends of the old gang he used to be involved in. He's bankrupt. I'm here. If you bring me problems, if you bring me foolishness, then why would you even expect me to be trust you and be submissive and be soft? Why? You brought me problems. If you bring me fear, how are you going to get love back? Because perfect love casts out fear. Sergeant Love is a black man. Do you think he has any problem getting love back from me even now? No. You think Father Matthew says, I mean, we have our conflicts from time to time because we're two different. We're very similar people, informed by two different generations, actually two, almost what, two and a half because of the age gap between us, because the life of black men and women is different. But at the same time, I don't disrespect him. I hold him in honor. I always will. Always. The reason I'm single is because Most of these men out here will not even be willing. If my father had gone and worked outside, one time we had a really bad plumbing problem. My dad put on his work boots and went out there and sloshed through what he had to slosh through to make sure that everything's okay till the plumber arrived. These men would not be worthy to lick the bottom of his boots on that day. Because they don't know nothing about love. They coming up with fear. You got 8-figure men out here talking about, well, I only buy a woman a glass of wine because I need to know she's not with me for a meal. Sir, if you are a millionaire still sitting around so terrified of women that a 15, 20, 30, $40 meal is what dominates what you do and what you choose to give and how you choose to present yourself. Okay, number one, you're missing all the women who are teetotalers. I don't want your glass of wine. I don't drink. But I would be willing to go on a coffee date with people because I would prefer to be indoors after a certain hour. Because I think like an outdoor person. I want to be out when the sun is shining. We can walk around and enjoy the day and all that other stuff. I don't have a problem with that. Because what I've discovered about myself is I'm really an outdoor woman at heart, although, of course, I'm somewhat cityfied. So we're going to say outdoor, we're going to say parks. But that would include national parks too, someday. Been to a few of them. But if you're leading with fear, you're not bringing me love. So then why would you expect to get love back? Huh? If you're still eating up with resentment over who you couldn't date in high school because you wanted to be the thug, the athlete who was no good and you couldn't. So now you mad at God because he wouldn't let you be over 6 feet tall, have a six pack, and have the genetics to be that person. You still mad at the immature girls, where there were plenty of girls who were good students that you may or may not have been paying attention to. If you're bringing me resentment, you're not bringing me joy. So these men want all this love, joy, and peace, but they bring in fear, resentment, and problems. How are we gonna do this? Gonna leave where you're not going. Like I said, it could have been a white man that said it just would have been set up as class resentment, but it's the same thing. You cannot leave where you're not going. And if you're going to come in with the assumption that you are the leader just because you just happen to have something that dangles in the middle of your leg, then it behooves you to find out where are you going such that you can lead someone that wants to go. Other fools in the comments talk about, well, we protect you, we can have control. No, no, no. In a voluntary situation, even the United States military is voluntary now. It's not compulsory. So it's just like, okay, you want what Lloyd Austin can't get as Secretary of Defense? No, what you want is to have a plantation. There ain't nobody going back to the plantation with you. First of all, you don't have the power to do that. If you're an average man, no, ain't no way. Average men never did. You had to have one of two things needed to happen. And most of the time, what happened was the original slave owners in this country had served back 1,000 years, back when the Roman Empire was still, some of them so far back, the Roman Empire was still not a distant cultural memory. These people already were in power. Their ancestors were in power somewhere. So that's how it starts. These were the people that were running colonialization anyway, and then they just came here and decided they didn't want to give anything to the King of England. But they kept their ways, and what they did was they bought slaves because they didn't have serfs. So that's number one. If you were an average man of any color, but if you are a descendant of slaves, of all things, you cannot buy a woman's trust. You cannot buy a woman's love. You cannot buy a woman's worship. You cannot buy a woman's softness. You can only lead in such a way that you can get that. And if you continue to openly let us know that all you want to be is the overcooked version of Thomas Jefferson and mad because you can't be 6'3" and cute, then you're not even gonna get close to that. Nobody wants your money like that. George Washington and Thomas Jefferson is still on the money. You not. Harriet Tubman will be on that dollar bill before Booker T. Washington will. And that's sad because Booker T. Washington accomplished a lot of stuff that people don't even know about. But it is what it is. I think there could be some more fairness. But the point is, no, you ain't got it like that. So all you can do if you want all this softness and submission is presented in such a way that you can be trusted. Be emotionally available beside your resentments. Okay, so you're gonna bring me fear, you're gonna bring me resentment, you're gonna bring me problems. You want love, joy, and peace. Well, if you're bringing fear, resentment, and problems, you probably don't know anything about gentleness, goodness, and patience either. Because you don't tend to be gentle with the things that you're afraid of. You don't tend to be good with them, and you don't tend to be patient. You just wait to lash out and windmill and destroy that enemy. You definitely are not gentle, good, or patient with anything you resent. And if you have problems and you don't have peace, peace goes with gentleness, goodness, and patience. And that also probably means if you're still a grown man at my big age, around my big age, and you are still being driven by your fears and your resentment, and all you're doing is creating problems, you certainly have no faith. You certainly have no wisdom and know how to control it, meekness. And you definitely don't have self control because you are living out of what? Fear, resentment, and creating problems. So, those are all the fruits of the Spirit, by the way. Those come from Galatians chapter 5, I believe, verse 22. The fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, gentleness, goodness, patience, faith, safe self control, meekness. Meekness, faith, and self control. But somewhere down there at the end, I know that those three are down there. They said meekness, self control, and faith. Meekness, temperance, faith. Faith may be the ninth one. Anyway, it's like segments of an orange. They're all part of the fruit of the Spirit. But it's also a very good record since that's the divine masculine saying, this is my spirit, this is what I'm like. It also makes a good bar, although we understand a man cannot meet it perfectly. My father, Sergeant Love, my pastor, the younger men that I associate with, all that whole group of people, the beneficial black man, for an example, is someone online. Phil Kofer is a good choice for that. So I can name two black content creators off the top of my head. I don't have a list in front of me. Who epitomize those things. Maybe not perfectly, but you see the evidence of that. I enjoy their content because of that. Um, I've had to step back on some content creators because they're going through a moment where the fact that black women are refusing to accept some of the traditional things, because he once said in the video that black women used to be some of the wrong women, but that's beginning to go away. And he getting hit back and getting a whole lot of pushback from a lot of women now. And he's not adjusting very well to it, but that's an adjustment that people have to go through as they mature. I remember myself at 39, it was a hard adjustment to realize what was really going on. But I can name two off the top of my head. Um, there are black men who epitomize this also. And guess what? The ones I know personally, because they've always brought love, joy, and peace, guess what they get back? Because they've always brought gentleness, goodness, and patience, guess what they get back? Because we walk in meekness, faith, and self control, we can walk together in meekness, faith, and self control. I would be Mrs. Love, but for the age gap. So he, a very well to do brother, would have gotten from a sister what brothers think Maximilian gets because he's white. Nope. Grow up and get over yourselves. Stop projecting on white men the failures that you yourselves have. A whole lot of us need to learn how to walk in what it is that we want. I know plenty of black women. I love y'all still, but had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. Why aunties represents the extension of opportunities that were rejected. Because in order for us to be able to be in the life of man that epitomizes these things, the same thing is still true. We also must epitomize and know how to respond correctly and know how to respond. It is ridiculous that men who know nothing but fear and resentment and problems. Expect to receive gentleness, goodness, patience, when they also have no faith, no meekness, and no self-control. It is ridiculous that they would expect that from a woman. You know, the wonderful example of this is Ernest Williams, who Shirley Strawberry apparently phone call now. Pam Esquire, Law Intellect, I gotta talk about her next for our Thursday video. Has been listening to it as a channel called Phone Call from Prison, and I think Grown Woman Vibes is also covering it. Ernest Williams is in prison and can't get out on bail. Pam Esquire, the Law Intellect, showed his bail hearing, and that white woman judge sat up there and toyed with this man. And his attorney was not doing what he's supposed to be doing. Turned out that they done paid a whole bunch of money for attorneys, and the attorneys are not attorneying the way they need to. And Pam Esquire, the Law Intellect, is up here talking about, well, you know, if I was your what I would suggest that you do, I'm not going to be the attorney of record, but I'm just going to put this out there for you to suggest to your attorney. You know, if I was in that situation, I might consider doing this, but that attorney isn't ready, and that judge, knowing what she could do and not do, let that man stay in there on bail. Well, he got caught on tape on those jail phone calls talking about how he never loved Shirley Strawberry, and he tried to manipulate her, gave her an ultimatum from prison. She told him off and left his butt right there and closed the wallet on him. Meanwhile, he up here with the side chick who's just as silly and just as deprived of any sense of propriety as he is. And now he's really stuck. He's really stuck now. Because what happens is what you lead with, you end up getting back. If you know good and you're not faithful, if you don't have any self-control and you think women are just available for your chattel, what you eventually end up with is being dependent on a woman who would go for that. So that when you really get into a situation and you get into the hands of men that can do, and women who can do whatever they darn well please to you, and all you have as a backup is the kind of woman that will put up with you acting a fool, when you get into that situation, you're going to stay there. You keep demanding people bring to you what you don't put out, sooner or later, you end up stuck there. And that's where you belong. And that's what's happening to a whole lot. See, what happens when Black women stop showing up for people who demand all this help and assistance, love and joy and peace and strength and all this, and feel no obligation to lead in that direction? Who want us to take their fear and their resentment and their problems and turn back love, joy, peace, and abundance. What happens when we stop doing it? That's the next video, actually. And this happened because this individual had the temerity to, first of all, not do. It's like Tyler Perry, a Black billionaire, up here talking about men changing the light bulb. Like, you don't know that Black men are doing better than being able to just change the light bulb. You ain't done that much research. It amazes me how much Black men who talk like this hate Black men, because they keep underrating other Black men. But it's like Dump Truck Man from our first Blessed Block and Change a Lot. People are so lacking in self-awareness and so caught up in their own inadequacies that they don't even really see anybody else. So it's not personal. It's just that when you that degree of lost in the sauce, all you're looking at is that you mad because you did not get to be the overcooked version of Thomas Jefferson. You mad because you did not get to be Maximilian Eve's wife and have her sitting up there at 45, beautiful and completely unavailable and loving on that white man that you cannot be. Because that's your problem. You mad at God because he didn't make you over 6 feet tall with a six pack and you couldn't get the girls in high school. You mad because he didn't make you a white man. That's a personal problem. If you bring that to a sensible woman, she can't make love, joy, peace, softness, submissiveness, and trust out of that. You cannot make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. You cannot make a loving home out of a broken man. Get your lives together or get out. That's the message for 2024. Because there are plenty of good men, Black and all others. There's plenty. The world is not lacking in gentlemen that have their lives together. They may not be a majority, but that's all right. That's all right. There's enough of us who want to get things together. And see, here's the thing about this so sad. Y'all do not understand the extent to which, one way or another, things are going to start to really shake themselves out for a whole lot of people. We're already seeing it. That's the next video I'm going to do today. But seriously, y'all, seriously, as a man, don't roll up demanding what you are not leading in. You cannot lead where you yourself are not going. All right. Thank you for listening. I know this one was kind of rough, but it need to be said because we're not going into another month of the year having this conversation again. We just gonna block all this. No. Mm-mm. See, like I said, I do not recommend in the front, and I go throw people's channel links into the do hidden user cannot speak on my channel in the back. I block. I'm no, not gonna be part of my discourse. No, no, mm-mm. Not doing it. Not 2024. No. And I recommend, ladies, that anytime man demands of you what he is not bringing, y'all know what to do. Bless block and change those locks. Don't even let them in. Just don't do it. Listen for the foolery. Yeah, what do you bring to the table? Nothing. You brought me here. If you don't know why you brought me here, that's your problem. That's what you could. That's you don't necessarily say that aloud, but that's what you need to think about. A man brings you to a table, and he doesn't know why he invited you there. That's what that means. That means that man is telling you about his complete inadequacy to have his life together. Because again, he wants to lead. He wants to lead somewhere he's not capable of going. Because if he was capable of going there on his own, he would not need you to come with 50%. This is why men like Max Million laugh. This is why men like Jordan Peterson come and dump on the Hafizes of the world. This is why white men and women can play with men like Ernest Williams and let them just, you have a right to a speedy trial. You a black man in America. If you don't have if you do not have alliances with the right black men and women, and you can, if all you want to do is use people, then you go sit and rot. That's what's going to happen. Now he's got another bail hearing coming up allegedly, but we'll see what happens. We'll see how much the woman who's on the side, try to be as respectful as possible to other black women. The woman who's on the side can help him, but from what she's going on, she's enjoying being a social media personality now. So we'll see if she can manage to pull enough money together to get this man a good lawyer so he can actually get out on bail. But then where is he going to go if Shirley's not going to let him back in the house? See, your adventures are just beginning when you finally reach the point where no one who has any, you didn't lead a woman with resources who cared a lot about you in the right place when she decides to lead herself away from foolery. What are you about to do? Look up the number of homeless people who are black men on the street. Remember, I told y'all about the one who was put out on the bench after the rain. When I was walking through the park, you could hear him a half mile away just cussing that woman and cussing that woman. Still outside on the bench. When you can't leave where you want to go and that woman decides she's not interested in helping you pretend anymore, gentlemen, don't let it happen to you. Not in 2024. You want love, joy, and peace? Then don't bring fear, resentment, and problems. Learn how to have love, joy, and peace so you can have gentleness, goodness, patience, meekness, faith, and self-control. And if you need some help with that, Jesus Christ, fully God and fully man, is available to you. Because the men that I revere didn't get it from black culture per se, but they met the Lord Jesus Christ, who then directed them to black men walking with Christ. And that became the model instead of Thomas Jefferson. Anybody want to know about it? If you don't want to talk to me about it, I know some powerful older black men who can. We have the men's mentoring movement here, and because we have remote setup, y'all let me know. I'm willing to connect you with some men who can help you with that. Don't get caught out here in 2024. I already showed y'all the lock, right? All right. Y'all have a good day now. Bye. Thank you for listening.